Huh?
Is it supposed to be like this?
Yeah, it's supposed to be up. Yeah,
It's fine.
yeah, that's fine. Sorry about that. Welcome to the Headline Eye. I am your host, Larry H. Gardner, and the H stands for shout out to the Houston Texans last night. Ooh, I know my Pittsburgh fans are mad. The Houston Texans beat the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh at the wild card playoff game, which capped off a whole bunch of wild card craziness with the Bears and the Packers. The Bears winning. Shout out to DJ Chicago, who's a Bears fan, and shout out to everybody else that their teams won respectively. But out of that debacle in Pittsburgh, where the Steelers only scored 6 points and lost another playoff game, head coach Mike Tomlin has stepped down from his post after 19 seasons. So again, I'm going to get on your nerves, Pittsburgh fans. This is Larry H. Gardner, the Headline Eye, WNRV 108.1.com. Nerve DJs, we get on your nerves. Miss Lexus has returned. Miss Lexus, how you doing?
I'm doing great. It's Lexus Bogan here.
That's going on. So how was your New Year's and Christmas?
It was really great. I spent time with my family and my kids. New Year's, it was kind of, it was giving sleep, I'm going to be honest.
Oh, okay. What was you doing on New Year's? And it must have carried on because you weren't here last week. So
I had injuries. So my son, he has a thing with water, and I went with the granny slippers, and I fell on top of my head. And it hurt so bad.
Ooh,
I literally fell, boom, flat on my head.
I'm glad that you're here,
and
though.
I know I raised my kids right, because as much as I know they wanted to laugh, they didn't.
That's good.
They came to my aid, and rubbed my head.
Oh, Lord.
But it was funny, though. It was funny.
Not as much as that Pittsburgh Steelers been hurting their head, beating their fists to the TV last night. Dang. Listen, y'all talk about the Browns fans calling us clowns and saying that it was conspiracy theories that Pittsburgh lost to Cleveland and yada, 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 yada. Listen, I'm going to just bring the facts out there. The last time the Pittsburgh Steelers went to the Super Bowl was in 2010. They lost to the Green Bay Packers. That starting quarterback for the Green Bay Packers was Aaron Rodgers. Pittsburgh lost their 7th playoff game last night. You know who was the starting quarterback for that team? You guessed it, Aaron Rodgers. So either way it goes, whenever Aaron Rodgers is in the playoffs against the Pittsburgh Steelers or for the Pittsburgh Steelers, he makes sure y'all lose every single time. Thank you, Aaron. Send that in retirement for you. By the way, Aaron Rodgers threw a touchdown pass to the other team, pick 6, that ended the game. But I'm going to leave y'all alone because there's some serious things going around here. I went to first of all, speaking of winning football teams, shout out to the Glenville Tar Heels football team, state champions again. They were at the City of Cleveland City of Cleveland Councilman's meeting last night, open forum public meeting last night, along with Abdullah Mason, the champ. He had the heavyweight champ, I think the light heavyweight champ. He had his belt down there, and a couple of people were celebrated and things of that nature. So shout out to those Glenville boys, those Glenville young men for winning another state championship. I think that is 2 in 3 years, T-Rex? You don't know? 3 out of 4. 3 out of 4. Okay. All right.
It's very rare for a Cleveland public school. A lot of these teams that you win in private schools. This is Cleveland public school.
Thank you.
Never been done before in history. Shout out to the Tar Heels.
And shout out to head coach Ted Ginn Sr. Also, his son Ted Ginn Jr. is also going to be the coach of another football team in Columbus. I think it's a semi-pro league. So shout out to the Gins. Shout out to everybody winning. I see everybody winning. But I got to be on a serious note right about now. In the state of Minnesota, we noticed there were protests around the nation, 2 in the city of Cleveland, about the murder of Renee Good, who was pulling away when an ICE agent pretty much went to the side of her car and shot her 2 times, and she unalived her. Now, the thing about ICE is it's supposed to be for undocumented immigrants, hauling them in, which I feel like that this is a sick way to do some things. But this administration, the Trump administration, this is a sick administration. I'm just saying it right now. I'm saying it's a sick administration, and the officer who did that should be put behind bars. He should be arrested because that was murder. There's articles in the Constitution saying that you should not do that as a officer of the law. And I don't know where Vice President J.D. Vance, this couch hummer, and Trump and all these other cronies want to bash this dead woman. Also, if my Republican friends brought up a black man was killed by ICE in December, both of those are wrong. But but to my Republican MAGA people that support Trump, especially you black folks, I'm not going to call y'all what I want to call y'all. You black folks that support Trump, y'all conveniently just remember the black man getting killed by ICE and saying, well, this white woman got killed by ICE. She's getting more rep than him. The thing about it is like it's both getting reps, and the thing about it is like I didn't mention it on my show. Don't come for me because I was off for 2 weeks while this was happening. Now that I'm back, I'm going to mention every single person that get killed by ICE and how there are the Gestapo region of the Trump administration. They are disgusting, they are disturbing, and they are damn right wrong. And I'm sick and tired of everything that Trump does being justified by some of you African American folks who support him. He is wrong. He is a dirty, rotten person. And he should have been in jail a long, long time ago. I'm holding back because my guest is here and I might need some mental health care. But speaking of health care, we are going to bring my guest on. T-Rex, could you play the entrance music, please? I don't want to go off any further. Now, if you heard of Vital Home Care or Vital Care Period LLC, you heard about this wonderful woman. You heard about what she's doing. She is a longtime friend of the family, first-time guest on the Headline Eye. Please welcome my friend and yours, Miss Crystal Harris. Hey, lady.
Hey, thank you for having me.
How are you doing?
I'm here.
I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you're here. I said we was gonna start the year with some bomb guests. We had Meredith Turner last week, and now we got Crystal this week. Yes. So the thing about it is that how did you come about starting these 2 services for healthcare?
Well, I've been in healthcare for over 20 years. So I started off as a home health aide, and then I transitioned to a state tested nursing assistant, and then went on to become a nurse. So I've always been in the care industry in some sort. And so I never really was someone that conformed to the bedside type thing. I wanted to birth is Vital Care Services. It's a mobile post-op care business. So really how that came about is that I was noticing that a lot of women of color were going to have elective procedures in silence. And what elective procedures are procedures that normally are not covered by your insurance. So they might be mommy makeovers, a woman who has had maybe a double mastectomy and she wants to have breast augmentation, or she's had 5 or 6 children and her body is now different and she wants to feel good about herself and get a mommy makeover. And so for whatever reason, our culture has made you feel some type of way about doing what makes you happy. And so I wanted to provide a safe space for women of color that want to do something that makes them feel good. Now, that doesn't mean that if you're on your 6th BBL that I'm going to service you.
Right.
This really needs to be something that I have a lot of weight loss surgery patients. You know, you've lost 300 pounds and now you are depressed because your body it doesn't look like you would like it to. So I birthed that because I actually went to a couple women's funerals because they had surgery in silence. And infection set in
and things of that nature. So what I do is I travel with them when they want to go and have surgery. I try to convince them not to go out of the country and to have surgery here in the States. It's just too much red tape. And then I travel with them, make sure they're okay. I'm an advocate for them. A lot of times they're going by themselves, and they're in these recovery homes of people that have no real clinical background. So I go in and make sure they're okay. I fly back with them. When they come home, I have a spa that's attached to my home, and I give them the lymphatic massages. I take their vitals, I remove their sutures, I remove their drains. Because a lot of times when you go to Miami and have surgery and then you come back here, doctors and surgeons don't want to touch you. People don't want to touch you.
Right.
So I give them a safe, comfortable, sterilized location so that they can safely recover and have the best optimal results possible. So that was my baby. That's my most, and then everything's vital. So, and I came up with the word because to me, everything that's important is vital. So care is vital. And so as Larry and I have spoken about on many occasions, our peers are now facing a time where we are having to bury our parents.
Right. Yeah. Fortunately.
So the second business is Vital Care Homes, which is a residential assisted living facility. We have 5 beds. We specialize in Alzheimer's and or dementia patients. This is another option. When you're aging, normally people know about going into a nursing home or home care.
Right.
This is an additional option. My home is a ranch-style home. It's on the border of Euclid and Richmond Heights. It's all ADA approved. It's handicap accessible. We have all of the things. So people can come in assisted. I'm a nurse. They can stay through the duration, meaning if they need to go on hospice, they need wound care, we can have those services come in, but then this is their home for the duration, and they're loved on there just as they would be in a facility or at their home. But it's safe and more intimate.
When did you open up the facility?
The facility, I got the keys for the facility in January of 2024. But because of all of the red tape in Ohio, because this is a very new model for Ohio, I had to kick some doors in, and it's really, really going to be something that's groundbreaking for this particular state. It's not as common. It's more common in Florida, Arizona, California, places like that where it's warmer, or we call them snowbirds, I think.
Right.
Yeah, people move to warmer climates so that, you know, they can retire there. So Ohio's been tough, but I wasn't stopping. It was my dad's vision 10 years ago, and that gave me more fire to make it happen when he passed in June, and I was able to move him into my facility for the last 8 days of his life. And so that meant a lot because it was his vision.
Wow.
Yeah, so care is vital.
And hopefully with that, your dad's vision, God bless him, will keep going. So with that being said, there's you said a lot of red tape.
Yes.
Do you think that it was red tape just because you're an African American woman, or just red tape period? Or was there extra stuff heaped on you?
I definitely think it was a lot of red tape because I'm an African American professional woman. I'm a nurse. A lot of people who own these homes are not nurses. You don't have to be. Assisted living is non-clinical. We can bring in clinical components. So it definitely makes a lot of other people feel some type of way. So also the red tape is just not being familiar. I am on a residential street, so my neighbors could say, we don't want this type of home here. And people do that sometimes with group homes. You know, they don't want people with mental health issues on their street. They don't want people with behaviors and things like that. My residents are elderly. They're in the bed by 7:30, 8 o'clock. You know, we're not making a whole bunch of noise and ruckus. You know, police isn't visiting often. We're very quiet into ourselves. So that part they don't have to worry about. But yeah, it was the red tape and no, you can't do that. But on Black and White, when you Google it, you can. It's a thing. It's a thing in Ohio. But when you get into the meat of it, they want to give you a lot of kickback. You know, because my house is 5 beds. So the state doesn't stand a chance of making a lot of money off of me.
Oh, wow.
So that's where it really lands.
Alexis, you want to ask Crystal a question?
Yes. So I definitely feel like you are very strategic just off of the things you said, as far as things you put into the business and how you're going about it. You'll keep extra people getting out of your pocket or whatever. So I did want to compliment you on that. Thank you. Also, too, it's funny that you said about like the nursing home option because my little sister works for a nursing home and she's about to resign, go somewhere else because she says that it's so understaffed that people with dementia, hospice patients are wondering being sent there to die, not to live in a deadly sickness, but to die. And she said that there were nights that she was there, and there were people who are just like falling, like nobody, they don't have a sitter, so they're just falling over, head getting busted multiple times. Family members are not checking in, suing, pushing, nothing. I mean, people literally will send these elderly people to these facilities. Nobody cares about them. Nobody's fighting for them because you're old and you're going to die one day. So the fact that you do have enough care to organize your business in the home and make sure that they're on the schedule and they are properly taken care of, whether it's just 5 or not, that's fine for the people who are cared for.
I agree.
So that's not really the question, that's just more of a comment.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate you bringing up that fact because that is very. I worked in nursing homes before, and sometimes you can be a really good nursing assistant, but if you have 50 residents, if you have 50 patients, how can you really provide quality care? You know, and so those folks are sitting there in urine, and guess what urine does? It breaks down, and now you have a bed sore. And the reason that you're in the facility no longer becomes the importance. It's the bed sore that's going to take the person out before the diabetes or the heart disease. So giving that quality of care of the people who paved the way for us is very important. Me being an advocate for someone who may not know what today is, they may not know their name, is very important to me. I will run through a brick wall for someone who paved the way for us. And I don't know why people don't care. And you're right, they do feel like, oh, they're old, they're grumpy, they smell, you know, it's like all these negative things. No, without them, we wouldn't be here.
Right.
Their care is vital. They are vital. This is where I get the whole mission from. Because the neglect is serious. And guess what, guys? We are next.
Yeah.
We're next.
We up. We up.
Yeah. So what does that look like for us?
You're right. We're going to want someone to love us and have patience with us.
Yeah.
Somebody said when
Larry, you can come with me. It's okay.
thank you. It's somebody. Thank you. Somebody. But I think me and my friend shout out to Sultan Jones, said it best that when and this was right when my mother's services was happening in March of last year after I came from the view, which is here on the repast. It's like we are next. We are up, and we don't think about that because we are not here until an elder goes, and then, oh, wait, I'm getting older as well. What? Okay, so we have to make sure that, like I said, take care of your mental and physical health because I'm seeing a lot more obituaries. By the way, speaking of obituaries, and I didn't bring this up earlier, the AB member of Adrenaline Rush, Rayshawn Ray Reed, passed away last night, and I'm sending out condolences to his brother Charles and his cousin as well. They were part of the teen group Adrenaline Rush back in the day in Cleveland, Ohio, and little Rayshawn Reed, the youngest member, passes away. And we got to remember that not just us, but people younger than us, and maybe in their 20s and stuff like that, if there's something happened to them, they can die as well or need care. So question, have you had people that you had to care for who were younger than you in your career?
In my career, yes. People have had traumatic accidents. Some people who have, it's called early onset dementia. And it may be from a fall, like, hitting your head, a car accident. Sometimes a traumatic event causes someone to have, in the beginning they'll call it amnesia, but then they end up with early onset, and they can be in their 40s. And so the sad part is that their body still operates like a 40-year-old. Their mind is just not. So they still have the emotions that they want to have a companion. They still want to be, maybe dress a certain way and look a certain way. So how do you put them in a nursing home? And their care is going to be different. So everybody in my home gets a specialized care plan. That's very important because everybody's care doesn't look the same. Everybody in the house can be 75. The care is going to be totally different.
Mm-hmm.
But I have had to care for younger people because of illnesses that are taking over on early stage.
What was the youngest?
The youngest patient I've ever had, because I am a care manager for United Healthcare as well. So, but I think the youngest person I've had is in their 30s.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then also early stages of Alzheimer's can pop in, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Dementia can roll over to Alzheimer's. It's all pretty much something that they don't really, they just go off of they give you a test. It's called an Alzheimer's test. And I encourage everybody to just start doing brain exercises, doing puzzles and what have you, because some of the greatest people that have been before us have ended up with Alzheimer's. Einstein, they later found out when they did his autopsy that he had white plaquing, spark particles on his brain. So he had Alzheimer's. He was brilliant, right?
Mm-hmm.
He used his brain cells a lot. A lot of people who are ending up with it today have stressful jobs, have stressful lives. We have to figure out a way to channel our stress.
What's the best way as a healthcare professional like yourself for people to channel their stress?
We do a lot of music therapy. We do a lot of music there. That's why when you played my song, I was excited because for me, it's therapeutic. I think, I'm getting more into yoga. I haven't gotten it yet. I was like, who's going to help me get up off the floor? I haven't figured that part out yet. But I know that yoga is supposed to be really, really good too. And having an outlet. Like I said, my dad passed in June. I had several other people pass after that. Cousins that were close to me. I just started grief counseling recently, and I feel bad for her. I was like, I think my therapist is going to need a therapist.
Right.
And she's like, no, she exercises 6 days a week. That's how she channels her mental. Because people are dumping on her all week, So we all have to figure out a way. Music is the first for me. And whatever your hobby is.
I think that music has always been a wonderful sight. Like everybody thinks that they have their own theme music every time they step up and wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
So, just like, and sometimes it can change, depends on the mood. Sometimes the mood can be melancholy and you listen to a certain song. Ever since Ma passed, I really can't stop listening to Luther. I can't really listen to Luther that much because I don't want to cry.
Yeah.
I don't want to, every time so amazing comes on, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to change that.
Right.
And there's some people that I don't want to listen to anymore. R. Kelly and Nicki Minaj, just to name a few. Stop throwing shots at Nicki. She shouldn't have been over there with MAGA. That's what I'm trying to say. But that's neither here nor there. So pretty much you said that your care is different, set up differently. How do you determine the care that a certain individual gets?
First, before they even can move into the home, I go and I interview them in their environment. Because they have to work within the dynamic. Keep in mind, this is a ranch-style residential home. This is a regular home, like how you are in your home. So we're not in a facility where people have lots and lots of feet away from each other. We have to my goal is to operate like a family. Okay? So when I go in their environment, I need to see how they are living in their environment. So we don't want to bring in boarders. You can't come in doing drugs or being physically aggressive and things like that. Don't get me wrong. With the Alzheimer's and dementia, sometimes they can be a little combative. That's usually because of anxiety. The anxiety causes them to be combative because they're confused. So we can channel the anxiety with music therapy. I have a patient who carries a baby doll. But because even though she has dementia, she never has forgotten how to nurture a baby. So that channels her energy when she's upset. So I go into their environment, I interview them there, and then I have them come and do a tour. Then we sit down and we talk about what are the family's goals, what are your goals, what are your expectations, and we see if we meet in the middle. We talk about pricing, of course. Currently, I accept private pay and long-term care insurance. That's another thing the state of Ohio is trying to give me kickback. They don't want to license me through the waiver because they said, oh, you have to have a bedroom attached to every bedroom. Well, I have one bedroom. It's a master suite, so we can license that one room, and I can put my waiver folks in there. You know, so we're gonna find the workaround for that. But nonetheless, once we decide, okay, they'll be a good fit, I sit down and I do a journal, a care assessment. Once they move in, within the first 24 hours, I do a head-to-toe assessment, just to make sure that if they have any bruising, wounds, things like that. We come up with meals that are appropriate. We have to do the whole shebang, you know. Personal care, what does that look like? They take their own meds, or should we be managing them? So we just do the whole thing in reference to the care assessment, and that's how they are usually brought into our home. We get a lot of people are coming now via respite care. Respite care is short term. So I get folks like, let's say they live with their daughter and the daughter wants to go out of town for the weekend. They'll come stay with me from Thursday to Monday. You know, or they're going on a cruise for a week. So they don't have to put them in a nursing home.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, nursing home requires usually 30 days at least for them to build insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Do you, I'm sorry, this is a little, but I actually have a grandmother.
Mhm.
Now, my auntie takes very good care of her mother,
Yeah.
so she wouldn't necessarily be in home or anything like
Yeah.
that. But do you offer services where if my aunt and her husband went out of town, that somebody could come to the home?
I don't offer them that.
Okay.
I mean, I always know of people, but it's difficult to refer people.
Okay.
If you understand, like I know people that could probably come over and do things, but you know, it's hard to refer folks.
It's hard to find good help these days. Okay.
Yeah, and you know, being that she's gonna be there alone, you have to be someone that they can trust and things like that.
Okay.
So they usually bring them to me short term because one thing, like for your aunt, I always try to let us know it's okay to say we need a break. We usually can tell when the caregiver is burned out. You can look at the caregiver and say, this person hasn't slept.
Okay.
This person is so consumed with the patient's care that they're not going to their own doctor's appointments. They're not taking their own time. If they're married, you have to take that time for your marriage. You know, maybe take a vacation, and it's okay. So I try to provide a safe space.
All right. I give a shout out to my sister when she, you know, I was, you know, by myself pretty much going to visit my mother, and the weather conditions were not ideal in between January and February and March. When my sister until my sister Sharice came up from Vegas in February to be there, and the first thing she realized that it's cold. I'm like, yeah, welcome back to Ohio. So it is, and sometimes you do, no matter, even if you got to visit a person in a facility, you still get burnt out. So I do understand. So how are you trying to expand in other states after you do this, or are you trying to just stay in the Midwest in Cleveland?
Well, I'll probably open a couple more homes here. One in particular for veterans. I think veterans are another component that is a need, and for some reason they're just forgotten about. And a lot of times I think it's just because they don't understand the resources that are available for them. So I just kind of want to be that even medium in between. But I'll open a few more homes. My real goal is that I want to educate other people. Open these homes. If you don't really conform to the big box facility thing, get together with your siblings and say, hey, you know, we just inherited mom's house. Let's see what it looks like to license mom's house and put, you know, her siblings in there. You know, or maybe we can schedule it for ourselves. So I do offer consultations and mentorships to people to teach them.
So there seems to be a relation in housing and the business. If you are able to get the housing through the real estate, then you could somehow start a business that way.
You can. You actually don't have to own the home. You can rent the home.
Okay.
Yeah, you can rent the home. That's the misconception a lot of people have. You can rent the home. You just have to have the agreement with the owner.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also, have you been funded? Have you been funded with grants or with everything else that you've done? How did you get funded?
Well, a lot of savings. I no longer have a retirement, so I bet it all on
Okay.
black. So no, there are.
That was funny.
It says she bet it all on black.
All on black. So you know, there's no way that it's not gonna work. all of it is set up in its divine order, so I was okay with taking the risk. I think wealthy people, successful people are not afraid to take the risk. So, but there are grants and scholarships available. I just didn't have the time because it's time consuming. My parents were declining by the day, and I needed to come up with this for them.
You need to come up with this quick and hurry. It's like now it's like I'll just risk it all,
Yes.
you know.
And you took your real life story and something that you had to solve, and you found a solution with your issue, with your business. So that's good.
Yeah,
So
I think that's why I have so much passion for it. You know.
that's what's up. That's what's up. You know, I'm grateful for you, and I've known you for a while. And shout out to Stacey Lester, my cousin. So I had to bring you on here because I don't want you to strangle me. And when am I getting on? I'm like, soon. Hold on, don't kill me. I'm not trying to die. Or get injured. Then you would have to take care of me. Right, exactly. It's like, my name's Larry Gardner. I'm here because Crystal injured me because I didn't put her on quick enough. But we gotta take a break. When we come back, we're gonna talk about the federal government and how it's affecting healthcare for businesses like Vital Services LLC, Crystal's business, and things of that nature. And being a black woman in this administration in general, I know it's stressful. So we're gonna take a short intermission. This is SZA, my favorite song, and we'll be right back on the Headline Eye on Nerve DJs, WNRV 108.1.com. Where to get on your nerves. We'll be right back.
This is WNRV 108.1.
What do you mean? What, right there? You ain't wanna seem thirsty? Hey, Lexus, get your bag. Get some. You need my brother. Why you giving them to me? I ain't want that motherfucker.
Like the what's the people who don't conform to rules? What's those people? They don't have that driver's license or nothing. What they call? You know, like the baby they like, I don't have a driver's license because I don't have.
So I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Not undocumented, but
Hey, what is it called? That's okay. I think about it. It's like the one.
I'm not part of this country.
Yes. They're so knowledgeable too about that. No, I like to follow the rules. You know why? Because I want to know. I want to be able to determine when you have to eat dinner, go to bed. I like this. I used to work at the agency. I don't know what they're doing. Oh gosh, it was in West Virginia. They think he's doing. But it was a low level. It was a low level, but it still was not even. I don't know how low level it was. I wouldn't want to do it.
Put it yes.
I did used to have water in my bag.
I got more water. I'm not. Take it slow.
You about to drink that in one go, baby.
almost did. Shit, we ain't gonna lie. But the reason I'm talking about that is because, and he is not my
He ain't mad.
He ain't mine either. I'm voting for the black one. I don't know what y'all want. Because
You mean to leave other countries alone? You don't know that these young folks that's in the service now, they didn't go there to actually fight, go to war.
no, they didn't.
No, they wouldn't be educated.
Are you a DJ, radio show, music artist, or a podcaster, and you've thought about having your own local